My name's Selena, and I was 26 when my grandfather died and left me everything he owned. 3 weeks after the funeral, my parents sued me. I was sitting in my apartment when the process server knocked. My mom had texted me that morning, asking if I wanted to get coffee. I had said yes. An hour later, a stranger handed me legal papers, claiming I'd manipulated my grandfather into changing his will. I called her immediately. "Mom, what is this?" "Selena, we need to talk about this reasonably." "You're suing me. You literally just invited me to coffee while someone was driving over here to serve me papers." "Your father and I have rights. That house has been in our family for 40 years. We raised you in that house." "Grandpa Joe raised me in that house. You guys moved to Phoenix when I was 7. We had careers. We couldn't just—" "You left me with him, Mom. You visited twice a year. Now he's gone and suddenly you remember I exist?" "Don't be dramatic. We're not asking for everything, just what's fair." "He wrote the will last year. His doctor confirmed he was completely competent. He knew exactly what he was doing." "You were living there, taking care of him. You had access. You could have pressured him." "I moved in because he had a stroke and you refused to come back. I took a leave from my job. I bathed him, fed him, sat with him every single day." "And now you get a $200,000 house and his savings. That's convenient." My hands were shaking. "I can't believe you're doing this." "We'll see you in court, sweetheart. Get yourself a lawyer." She hung up. I sat there staring at the complaint. Undue influence, fraud, lack of testamentary capacity. My brother Owen's name was on it too, as a co-plaintiff. Owen called 10 minutes later. "Selena, listen. You're suing me? You didn't even come to the funeral." "I was in Seattle. I couldn't get time off." "You didn't try. You haven't seen Grandpa in 4 years." "That doesn't mean I don't have a right to—" "A right to what? Money from someone you ignored?" "Mom and Dad explained everything. You moved in there right when he got sick. You isolated him. They tried to visit and you made excuses." "That's a lie. They never tried. I have texts, Owen, months of me begging them to come help." "They said you changed after you moved in, got controlling." "I got tired. I was doing everything alone while you all lived your lives." "Look, maybe we can settle this without—" "No. If you want to call me a thief, we're doing this in court." I hung up and immediately called Marshall Keating, an attorney my grandfather had used for his business years ago. He answered on the second ring. "Selena, I heard about Joe. I'm so sorry." "Marshall, my parents are suing me. They're claiming I manipulated him into leaving me everything." There was a pause. "Send me the complaint. I'll look it over." "Can they actually win?" "Depends on what they can prove. Did Joe have a prior will that left things differently?" "I don't know. I never asked about it." "We'll need to pull his records. In the meantime, don't talk to your parents or your brother without me present. Don't delete any texts or emails. Save everything." "This is insane. They abandoned him." "I know, but courts see these cases all the time. Adult children fighting over estates. It gets ugly fast." "It's already ugly." "It's going to get worse. Prepare yourself." The first hearing was scheduled for 6 weeks out. In that time, my parents' lawyer, a woman named Diane Rothman, filed motions requesting access to all of Grandpa Joe's medical records, financial statements, and communications with me for the last 3 years. Marshall fought it. "They're fishing. They have no actual evidence of undue influence." We were in his office, going through boxes of documents I'd pulled from the house. "What if they twist things?" I asked. "What if they make it look like I was controlling him?" "Were you?" "No. I helped him pay bills because his vision was bad. I scheduled his doctor appointments. I made sure he ate. That's not control. That's care." "Did he ever express concern that you were overstepping?" "Never. He told me constantly how grateful he was. He said I was the only one who cared." Marshall pulled out a folder. "These are letters he wrote. Did you know about these?" I looked through them. Letters to my mom and dad, dated over the last 5 years. Polite at first, then increasingly hurt. Diane, I haven't seen Owen in 2 years. I'd love to meet his girlfriend. Let me know when you're all free. Frank, I'm having some trouble getting around. The doctor says I need someone here at night. Could you come stay for a week or two? I'm trying to understand why you won't return my calls. If I've done something to upset you, please tell me. None of them had responses attached. He saved these? I asked. He gave them to me last year when he updated his will. He said he wanted documentation, in case anyone challenged his decision. He knew they'd come after me. He suspected. That's why the will is airtight. 3 witnesses, doctor's evaluation, notarized. He even wrote a letter explaining his reasoning. Can I read it? Marshall handed me an envelope. Inside was a single page in my grandfather's shaky handwriting. To my family and the court. I am of sound mind and body when I write this. I am leaving my estate to my granddaughter Selena, because she is the only person who stood by me when I needed help. My son Frank and his wife Diane chose their careers and comfort over their responsibility to me. My grandson Owen chose the same. Selena sacrificed her job, her social life, and her future to care for me without complaint. This is not manipulation. This is gratitude. I am choosing to reward loyalty and love. No one has pressured me. This is entirely my decision. I started crying. Marshall waited, then said quietly, They're not going to win, Selena, but they're going to make you fight for it. 3 days before the next hearing, Owen showed up at my door. I opened it and stared at him. What do you want? Can I come in? No. He looked tired. He'd lost weight. Selena, please. I need to talk to you. Your lawyer can talk to my lawyer. I'm thinking about dropping out of the lawsuit. That stopped me. What? I read Grandpa's letter. Mom and Dad's attorneys sent it in discovery. I didn't know he'd tried to reach out so many times. You could have asked me. I know. I was wrong. They made it sound like you'd swooped in and manipulated him. But reading his words, he was hurt. Really hurt. And I was part of that. You were. You all were. I want to withdraw my claim. I don't want the house. I don't want the money. Why now? He hesitated. Because my wife read the letter too. She asked me how I could sue you after everything you did. She said if I went through with it, she'd leave me. So you're not doing this because it's right. You're doing it because you got threatened. Maybe, but I'm still doing it. Owen, I don't trust you. You sided with them without even calling me first. I know. You called me a thief. I was wrong. Go away. Selena, I mean it. Leave. He stood there for a moment, then walked back to his car. Owen officially withdrew from the lawsuit 2 days later. My parents' case got weaker, but they didn't drop it. Instead, they doubled down. Their next move was to subpoena Loretta Chen, my grandfather's neighbor and close friend. Marshall warned me. They're going to try to get her to say Joe seemed confused, or that you kept him isolated. Loretta loved him. She wouldn't lie. She might not have to. If they twist her words the right way, they can build a narrative. The deposition was held in a conference room downtown. I wasn't allowed to be there, but Marshall recorded it and played it for me afterward. Diane Rothman started gentle. Mrs. Chen, how long did you know Joseph Brennan? 15 years. We were neighbors, good friends. And you saw him regularly? Almost every day until he got sick. When he got sick, did that change? Well, yes. Selena moved in to take care of him. And after she moved in, did you still see him every day? Not every day, no. But I visited when I could. Did Selena ever prevent you from visiting? Loretta paused. No, but she was very protective. Protective how? She screened his calls. She monitored who came by. She said it was because he needed rest, but sometimes it felt like she was controlling who had access to him. My stomach dropped. Marshall stopped the recording. "Don't panic. Listen to the rest." He hit play again. "Mrs. Chen, did Joseph ever express discomfort with Selena's care?" "No. He seemed happy she was there." "But you just said she was controlling." "I said it felt that way to me, but Joe never complained. In fact, he told me several times how grateful he was." "Did his children visit during this time?" "I never saw them. Joe mentioned they called occasionally, but they didn't come around." "Did that upset him?" "Of course it did. He talked about them all the time. He missed them." "Did Selena ever speak negatively about Joe's children in front of him?" "No, she avoided the topic." "Why do you think that was?" "Objection!" Marshall's voice cut in on the recording. "Speculation." I'll rephrase. Did you ever hear Selena tell Joseph not to contact his family? No. Did you ever witness her isolating him? Not deliberately, no. The recording ended. "She didn't hurt us," I said. "She told the truth." She gave them one line they'll use. Protective. Controlling access. They'll replay that 100 times. But she also said he was happy, that he was grateful. I know. It's not enough to sink us, but it's not nothing. The hearing 2 weeks later was worse than I expected. My parents showed up dressed like they were going to church. My mom cried on the stand. "We just want what's fair," she said, dabbing her eyes. "We're not trying to hurt Selena. We love her. But my father was vulnerable, and we believe she took advantage of that vulnerability." Their lawyer presented Loretta's deposition testimony, highlighting the word controlling over and over. Then Marshall stood up. "Mrs. Brennan, when was the last time you visited your father before he died?" My mom hesitated. "I'm not sure exactly." "Was it within the last year?" "We spoke on the phone." "That's not what I asked. When did you last physically see him?" It had been a while. We live in Arizona." 3 years. You hadn't seen him in 3 years. Is that correct?" "We had busy lives. We couldn't just drop everything." "But you expect the court to believe you were concerned about his welfare?" "We called. We checked in." Marshall pulled out phone records. "According to these records, you called your father 6 times in the 2 years before his death. 4 of those calls lasted less than 3 minutes. My mom's face flushed. "We texted." "There are 11 text messages in 2 years. Most of them are responses to his messages asking you to visit." "This isn't fair. You're making us look like..." "Like you abandoned him? Mrs. Brennan, your daughter moved in and provided round-the-clock care while you stayed in Phoenix. She put her life on hold. What exactly did you sacrifice?" "Objection," Diane Rothman snapped. "Argumentative." The judge, a woman in her 60s named Catherine Voss, held up her hand. "I'll allow it. Answer the question, Mrs. Brennan." My mom looked at my dad. He wouldn't meet her eyes. "We couldn't afford to come back," she said finally. "We didn't have the money." Marshall smiled coldly. "Yet you can afford to hire an attorney to sue your daughter." The case dragged on for another month. Marshall found bank records showing my parents had taken out a home equity loan against Grandpa Joe's house 7 years earlier. He'd co-signed it. They'd never paid it back. The loan had been in default for 3 years. "They didn't just abandon him," Marshall said. "They used him. They owe $70,000. If they don't pay, the bank comes after them personally." "Does the court know?" "They will." At the final hearing, Marshall presented the documents. My dad tried to explain. "It was for medical expenses. Our insurance didn't cover medical expenses for yourself, Marshall interrupted. Not for your father. You borrowed against his house and left him with the debt. Judge Voss leaned forward. Mr. Brennan, did your father know you'd defaulted on this loan? We were planning to pay it back. Did he know? No. The judge looked at my parents, then at me. Miss Brennan, would you stand, please? I stood. I've reviewed all the evidence. I've read your grandfather's letter. I've seen the phone records, the medical documentation, the testimony. I've also seen what your parents did to him financially. There is no evidence of undue influence. There is abundant evidence of loyalty, sacrifice, and love. The will stands as written. Case dismissed. My parents sat frozen. Judge Voss wasn't finished. Mr. and Mrs. Brennan, I'm troubled by what I've seen here. You abandoned your father, borrowed against his assets, and then sued the person who cared for him when you wouldn't. That's not just unethical, it's cruel. She left the courtroom. My parents walked out without looking at me. Owen waited in the hallway. Selena, I'm sorry. For all of it. Okay. Can we fix this? I don't know, Owen. You chose them without asking questions. That's hard to forget. I withdrew. I tried to make it right. You withdrew because your wife threatened you, not because you believed in me. He flinched. That's fair. I need time. A lot of time. He nodded and left. Marshall walked me to my car. How do you feel? Tired. Relieved. Angry. You won. That's what matters. I won, but I lost my family. Did you? Or did they lose you? I drove back to the house. Grandpa Joe's coffee mug was still on the counter, his glasses on the side table. I sat in his favorite chair and cried, not because I'd won, because I'd had to fight it all. My phone buzzed. My mom. You turned him against us. I hope you're happy. I blocked her number. Then my dad's. Owen I left unblocked, but I wouldn't answer. I sat there as the sun went down, thinking about the lawsuit, the betrayal, who my parents really were. And I thought about Grandpa Joe, who'd known they'd come after me and had protected me even after he was gone. I looked around my house and made a decision. I wasn't selling. I wasn't splitting it. This was mine, earned through sacrifice and love. But here's what I keep wondering. If your own parents could look you in the eye and call you a thief after watching you give up everything to care for someone they abandoned, what does that say about the price of doing the right thing?